way back in the day, I'm going to say probably about 1988 or 89, AMT released a 3-ship set of the TOS Enterprise, the Movie Enterprise, and the TNG Enterprise in the same scale. As I recall, they came on kind of a 3-tiered display stand, and it was a nice set. You know, I've built that kit a couple of times. It was reissued in different versions over and over again. I remember I had one that was chrome plated that looked awful, but it was a nice set to have. And all of those ships have been reissued in one form or another by Round 2 fairly recently. The TOS and Movie Era Enterprise were supplemented with a new tooling snap-fit kit of the Enterprise B in their Cadet series, probably about 3 or 4 years ago. I don't have that kit, but I might pick it up. And then there was I believe a new tooling version of the Enterprise C, released in around 2011 or so. I built that kit, or I got started building it. I was going to do some battle damage on it. I wanted to try an experiment using match heads to do the burn marks, and I think I ended up damaging the model irreparably, so I just chucked it. But it was a nice kit, and the Enterprise D and E are both readily available at pretty much any hobby shop. But once those ran out, they started doing new kits. They did a movie era series of ships, which includes the Reliant, I believe a Klingon Katinga class warship, and the Excelsior class. I believe those 3 come in a set. And then there was a TOS set that included the original Enterprise, Romulan Bird of Prey, and a Klingon D7 class. A couple other 3-packs here and there. But every once in a while, they'll do something a little off the wall. And that's where this one comes in. This is the Star Trek Deep Space Nine set, featuring yet another version of the Miranda class, this being the Saratoga, as seen in the pilot of Deep Space Nine. This was the ship that Ben Sisko served aboard during the Battle of Wolf 359, seen in that episode and in the TNG epic 2-parter, The Best of Both Worlds. Also features a Galor class Cardassian warship, and that's what I'm in this thing for. The Defiant. Oh yes. I'm excited. The Saratoga, whatever. I don't really care. But the Defiant and the Galor class, those have got me excited. Because those are entirely new kits, and I'm really eager to take a look at them. So let's have a look. So we got a 3-for-1 deal here. You got your Galor class, your Miranda class, and your Defiant class, which Miranda class, whatever, you can get the hell out of here. I wasn't in this for that one. I'm keen on these two. Box back, some size info. I haven't worked out the scales for these two, but I know that the Defiant is definitely not the 2500 scale advertised. I believe that it was closer to about 1800 scale. But you got not really any information about the ships themselves, just describing the Cadet series from AMT is a collection of easy-to-assemble kits of some of the most famous ships in the fleet, all in a compact 1/2500 scale, unless you actually, do your research and realize that, yeah, that's way too small or way too big for a 2500 scale. Anyway, box opens the same way as the Klingon and Ferengi ship did. We'll get the boring one out of the way first. This is the Miranda class USS Saratoga, as seen in Best of Both Worlds. This was Ben Sisko's ship and was destroyed by the Borg. Quite small compared to the Reliant that we looked at a few days ago, but detail looks pretty good. It's a smooth saucer, so nice to see that there's no raised panel lines for the grid, or for this deflector grid, but at the scale, yeah, it kind of would be pretty difficult to etch in recessed panel lines. And these appear, from what I understand, these are supposed to be sensors flanking the saucer section, but I've always felt they looked a lot like blasters from an X-Wing. They got that kind of hemispherical flashback suppressor or whatever they call it. Got your impulse engine deck area, and a bunch of empty spots. I'm guessing that those were probably for different versions of this same class in with or without the roll bar. And saucer bottom, the other warp nacelle pylon. The other one was on the other runner. Again, very smooth saucer. And you got your warp nacelles. Very simple, very, very basic. And then you got your Cardassian ship. This is actually a really nice looking model for the size. Lots of recessed and etched in detail here and there. You got some open panels and grid stuff and lots of vents. Always been a fan of the Galor class design. It's very unique. Aft engines and the phaser emplacements. Looks like there's two optional components, maybe. I'm not sure if. This one might be for the aft, for the engines. This one would be for the phasers, or vice versa. I'm not sure. But there's some. I guess there's a panel here where this goes. I'm curious if maybe this is intended to be for an optional component for. There was another class of Cardassian ship used the same space frame but had an additional pod on the back, and I can't remember what that class was called. But I wonder if maybe they left this piece off intentionally so that maybe in a future edition they could add that on and there'd be a whole other class of ship. You got your bridge here, bridge top and then bridge bottom, and then the bottom portion of the hull is a separate part. There's some trench detail in there, and it looks really great. And I'm guessing some shuttle bays. Actually, you never really get a great look at, especially the underside of a Galor class ship. So this is kind of a treat. And there's some grading here as well. So I wonder if maybe like this whole kind of ventral area might be a shuttle bay, and then these are like the launch tubes, and then these are like recovery bays or something. And last but not least, the tough little ship herself, lovingly referred to by one of my favorite web critics as Ben Sisko's mother effing pimp hand, the USS Defiant. Even in this scale, she looks mean. I have always been a huge fan of the Defiant. She's like one of those yappy little dogs, but really knows how to bite. But yeah, lots of little bits of detail. It's molded in this kind of weird bluish color, but nevertheless, it's still got lots of molded detail. You got some vents, not quite as nice as on the Galor class, and it's a little bit soft by comparison. But it looks like everything is here. You get your warp nacelle input in the Bassard collectors, and then the aft outputs. And the rest of it, it's literally just 6 pieces. There is a socket for a stand, but there are no stands included with this set. And the Galor class did not include one. Does not have a socket, though the Saratoga does. So that's kind of curious. Markings for the Starfleet ships. We got the saucer, Aztecing, sensor lines for the perimeter of it. Rear deck and warp nacelles, which just straight up the whole warp nacelles are just draped in decals. Some other basic Aztecing here and there, and then it looks like the entire Defiant is basically just covered from front to back, ventral and nacelles, and then the bridge deck area, and then the forward area. Yeah, it looks like the entire thing. You probably don't even need to really apply any paint. It's just slather it in decals. And hey, how about that? Looks like it's pretty much the same story with the Galor class. Just give it a basic once over of paint and then just cover it from bow to stern in decals. And it's got all dark windows, grown, but other than that, the markings look really neat. They're actually they look kind of airbrushed. You might be able to see there's a little bit of fade coming off the leading edge of just about every panel. So that's kind of an interesting way to go about that. Instructions, about as complicated as you'd expect. One step per, pretty much. Defiant, literally just the 6 pieces. Saratoga, about a dozen. Galor class, about a dozen. And yeah, so what I said, I thought maybe that was a swappable part, but yeah, it's one is for the aft, I guess is the engine, and one is the phaser emitter. Not much to speak of there. And then you've got your marking guide, which, yeah, that looks pretty busy on all 3 ships. Not a lot of paint required on any of them, but a lot of markings. So that's going to be fun. I hate to say it, I'm a little disappointed in that Defiant. Yeah, the detail looks a little bit soft, especially when compared to the Galor class, you know, which looks just really crisp. Like even the plastic is different, you know. All the edges on the Defiant are very soft, and it feels very flexible by comparison, whereas the Galor class, the Cardassian ship, just feels very rigid and very hard edged. Yeah. Whatever. They're still going to build up into nice models, I'm sure. I do wish they came with display stands, but you know, how hard could it be to make one? The Cardassian ship, sure, it doesn't have a display socket, but you could always retrofit one. Wouldn't be too hard to make a display stand out of you know, some metal wire and a simple wood base. You know, get a plaque from a trophy store, just a plaque base, like a round plaque base, and set the 2 of them on some metal wire sticking up out of it at kind of an angle to maybe make them look a little dynamic. Yeah, the Saratoga, as I've said, not really. Don't really care much about it. I'll build it. I'll apply the decals. I'll see how it looks. I'll use it kind of as a prototype for the larger Reliant that we're gonna look at, or that we looked at a couple of days ago. But you know, it's probably just gonna get thrown in a box once it's finished, because I don't really have much attachment to that particular ship, and I've got 2 other models of Reliant starships, Miranda class starships, so you know, whatever. So that's the end of all of our complete Trek kits. That's all of everything that I said I was going to take a look at over the last few days. But I mentioned yesterday I did find something in a shop that I wasn't expecting, and spent more money than I wish I'd had to. I got a great deal on it, I'm not gonna lie, but I certainly wish I could have saved that money and gotten it another time. I'm not gonna tell you what it is right now. You're just gonna have to come back tomorrow and find out for yourself. But it's something I'm very, very excited about. So, yeah, do try and come back tomorrow for that. Thank you everyone out there for watching, and happy modeling.